Now, I want to talk to somebody who I've watched as a practitioner of this business. Long time, longer than any of you have probably been watching political news. One of the people who helped get Trump elected, okay? And one of the casualties of what some saw as a conspiracy of silence around the president. But he is a GOP operative par excellence. Dates back to the Nixon era, and if you don't believe it, there's a tattoo of the guy on his back. Mr. Roger Stone joins us now. Raj, it's good to see you. It's been a minute.
Chris, thanks for having me on NewsNation. Glad to be here.
Let me ask you something. Raj is always a fair broker with me, personal or professional. What do you think of NewsNation? What do you think what we're trying to do here?
I like what you're trying to do. I think you try to tell both sides. That's why I was willing to come on. And look, I think more media is always better. More voices always better. I hate censorship, and I think the more diverse the media, the better. I'm always in favor of hearing all points of view, no matter how esoteric they may be.
Raj, how scared are you about this AI stuff?
I think it's petrifying. I've been the victim of it in some cases. It is absolutely amazing. I watched that or listened to that same Biden video, or I said audio, I guess was a robocall. I was actually approached by one of the guys who was involved in it to see whether I would interview him on my own show, The Stone Zone on 77 WABC in New York. I declined to do that, but it is uncanny. The technology now in which you can make something absolutely seamlessly believable, even when the person in question never said what they're depicted as having said. So I agree with your opening comments here. I think it's only going to make our politics worse. People, I think voters already uncertain what to believe, given to this huge amount of information come to them via the internet, as well as cable TV, for example. So I think it is problematic, as you do.
And look, you're known to knuckle up. You believe that you got to take on criticism, you got to fight back if you can. That said, how would you suggest the administration play this Atlantic story about the reporter being put on a signal thread? Thank God you're not in there right now. Can you imagine if this had been tossed on your lap? But what do you think they should be doing with it as opposed to what they are doing with it?
Look, the bottom line of it is, what policy did Donald Trump, the president, decide on? Every administration has internal discussions, internal debates. In the end, the president made a decision to attack the Houthis. They had been provocatively attacking us for a number of years. This also supported our European allies. At the end, there's only one guy who makes the call, and that's the president. And the vice president ultimately supported him. Internal debate is really not surprising. I understand the need of the news media to blow this into a tempest, but a week from now, nobody will be talking about it.
I don't disagree with that. I'm saying putting the reporter on the thread, doing that kind of business on Signal, that's not the standard that you've ever heard of before in that capacity. Do you think they should use this as an opportunity to own it? I'm not talking internal debate. You're right about that. But that we shouldn't have done this way. I'm not going to trash the reporter. We made a mistake putting him on this thread. We're not going to do it again. Isn't that what they should be saying?
Well, look, secure conversations shouldn't be had over any app that is available. I don't think they're any secure. I think all Americans, unfortunately, should assume that everything that you look at, everything you write, everything you say can ultimately be accessed. So I'm not going to criticize members of my own party, but in retrospect, they probably should have used a more secure chain. And I don't know how this reporter got attached to it. Frankly, I haven't even had a chance to read all of it. I've more read the media stories about it than actually looking at the exchange myself.
I got you. Look, part of the problem is that people don't criticize their own party, but I can't blame you for that. That's the nature of the game. Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.